Question over here given to us is identify the correct structure of 3-methylidene. From methylidene, what do you mean? Double bond CH2 group should be present. Penta 1,4-diene. We need to identify the correct structure of 3-methylidene penta 1,4-diene. If we ourselves draw the structure for this particular compound given to us, so the carbon chain, the parent chain consists of 5 carbon atoms because it's pentadiene, penta 1,4-diene. So see, basically it's 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon and 5 carbon. At the third position, we are having methylidene group attached. At the first particular position, first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, we are having double bonds present, and over here we are having CH2 group present. So this is basically the structure of 3-methylidene penta 1,4-diene. So over here, option number A and B, if I just talk about, option number A is out of the race because we actually require 3 double bonds. Okay, it's not present. Okay. Talking about option number B over here. See, if I just select the carbon chain and I'll select that particular parent carbon chain having maximum number of multiple bonds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But over here, methylidene group is not present. It's out of the race. Over here, methyl group is present at the second position, which actually we don't want. Talking about option number C over here. Let me count the number of carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the race. It's actually do not belong to the structure they are asking for, because the over here the name given to the structure is 3-methylidene penta 1,4-diene. The parent carbon chain should consist of 5 carbon atoms, not 6. Talking about option number D, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. At third position, we are having methylidene group. At first and fourth position, we are having double bonds present. So this is the correct structure for 3-methylidene penta 1,4-diene. Option number D is the right answer for this particular question. Question over here is 4 mole of an ideal gas at 27 degrees Celsius is allowed to expand isothermally from an initial pressure of 12 atm, that means P1 is equals to 12 atm, to a final pressure P2 of 6 atm against a constant external pressure of 1 atm. That means over here the gas is expanded against constant external pressure. Gas is being expanded against external pressure, which means the work is done by the system. If work is done by the subsystem, that means work over here will be negative. I can write over here work done is equals to minus P external V2 minus V1. Again, read the question. 4 moles of an ideal gas at 27 degrees Celsius, which means equals to 300 Kelvin, is allowed to expand isothermally from an initial pressure of 12 atm to final pressure of 6 atm against a constant external pressure of 1 atm. That means gas is expanded against constant external pressure. Work is done by the system. Work is negative, so I'm going to write this, which means minus P external. It is nRT upon P2 minus nRT upon P1. So if I just expand it, it will become W is equals to minus P external multiplied by nRT multiplied by 1 upon P2 minus 1 upon P1. 1 upon P2 minus 1 upon P1. Okay. External pressure is minus 1 atm. It's 4 moles. So over here, we are going to take the value of universal gas constant in liter atmosphere term, because over here pressure is in atm. That's why. So it will be 0.0821 liter atm per Kelvin per mole. Okay. Multiplied by 300 Kelvin. Multiplied by 1 upon 6 minus 1 upon 12 basically. So what you are going to do over here then? Okay. See, mole cancels with mole. Kelvin cancels with this Kelvin. And this ATM cancels with the ATM over here. It's 1 upon P2 minus 1 upon P1. So it will be 1 upon ATM. So ATM cancels with that only. Okay, fine. So it's 1 upon 6 minus 1 upon 12. So it will become, it's minus 4 into 0.0821 multiplied by 300 multiplied by 1 upon 12. Okay, so it's 4 ones are and 4 threes are and this 100. So you will get the answer as minus 8.21 liter, because it's, see, it's 0.0821 multiplied by 100. So 2 zeros over here. So minus 8.21 liter ATM. But over here, basically, we want the answer in joules. Now, 1 liter ATM is equals to 101.32 joules. This is the relationship between liter ATM and joules. So it's minus 8.21 multiplied by 101.32 joules. So basically your answer is going to come out in negative and it will be minus 831.4 joules. Option number D is the right answer. Minus 831.4 joules. Minus 831.4 joules. Multiply it, you will get the answer. Because it's 8 and it's 100. So answer will be approximately near about 800. Since there are points, so more than 800. Okay. So over here, only option which matches with the approximate answer of ours is option number D only. So we'll mark straight away option number D, which is the right answer to this question. Question over here is, following reaction describe the rusting of iron. 4Fe plus thrice of O2 gives us 4Fe3 positive and 6O2 negative. Which one of the following statement is incorrect? Okay. See, from this particular reaction, basically, if I just look to the statements given to me, this is an example of redox reaction. Yes, absolutely, this is an example of redox reaction. How come? Over here, the metallic iron, which is in free state, is getting oxidized to +3 oxidation state, as well as oxygen, which is in 0 oxidation state over here, is getting reduced to the oxidation state -2. So this is an example of redox reaction wherein oxidation and reduction are taking place simultaneously. Okay, so basically iron, Fe, metallic iron, is oxidized to Fe3 positive and oxygen is reduced to O2 negative basically. Metallic iron is a reducing agent. Yes, it is a reducing agent because reducing agents are the agents which reduces the other species and itself get oxidized. And over here, metallic iron is actually getting oxidized. So metallic iron is a reducing agent. O2 is an oxidizing agent. Yes, because oxidizing agent is a species which oxidizes the other species and itself get reduced. So basically, this oxygen is actually oxidizing the metallic iron, which is in free state, to iron in +3 oxidation state. That's why. So now, talking about option number D, that means the statement number D, says that metallic iron is reduced to Fe3 positive. No, metallic iron is actually oxidized. It is actually oxidized to Fe3 positive basically. Okay, it's not reduced. Reduced means gain electrons, but over here it's losing electrons. So which one of the following statement is incorrect? It's option number D, which is absolutely the right answer for this question. Question over here is, which one of the following exhibits ring chain isomerism? Which one of the following exhibits ring chain isomerism? For the compound to exhibit ring chain isomerism, the two different compounds should have same molecular formula. Okay, but the mode of linking should be different. That means one should be cyclic structure and the other one should be open chain structure. In a way, I'll say that the structural isomers which have same molecular formula but possesses both cyclic structure and open chain structure, they are actually termed as ring chain isomers. If I just look for hexene and cyclopropene, in hexene we are having 6 carbon atoms basically, and in cyclopropene we are having 3 carbon atoms. Okay, and in hexene 6. So the molecular formula is different, because the number of carbon atoms are different. So option number A, out of the race. Talking about propyne and cyclopropene. Propyne do have 3 carbon atoms and cyclopropene also have 3 carbon atoms. So molecular formula can be same. So if I just talk about propyne, it's C triple bond C and C. So it's H over here and H3 over here. Talking about cyclopropene, cyclopropene looks like this. So it's C3 H4 and over here it's C3 and it's H4. Molecular formula same. One is open chain and other one is the cyclic structure. So basically option number B, I can mark that they can exhibit ring chain isomerism. Talking about hexene and cyclohexane. Hexene also have 6 carbon atom and cyclohexane also have 6 carbon atoms. So I'll say if I just write down the structure of hexene first of all, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and cyclohexane. This is our cyclohexane. It's H2, it's H, H2, H2, H2 and H3 basically. So it's 2 and 3, 2 and 1, 3, 3 and 2, 5, 5 to 7 to 9 and 3, 12. C6H12 and over here C6H12. Molecular formula same but there is different mode of linking. That means one is cyclic structure and the other one is open chain structure. So yeah, they are going to exhibit ring chain isomerism. Hence I'll mark straight away option number D, saying that both B and C are going to exhibit ring chain isomerism. Option number D is the right answer for this question. Question over here is, among the given compounds, the correct order of enol content is. Among the given compounds, the correct order of enol content is. So basically, first only I'll just say that enol content is directly proportional to stability of enol formed. Is directly proportional to stability of enol formed. Okay, so this you need to remember. Initially, I've just told you. Talking about the enol form of the first structure. If I just draw the enol form of the first structure, it's a ketone. Yeah, it is a ketone. Now, in ketoenol tautomerism, what happens basically that their delocalization takes place. Delocalization takes place between carbonyl group, and alpha hydrogen atom attached at alpha carbon atom, which is sp3 hybridized, wherein there is equilibrium that is established between the keto form and the enol form. So these are the alpha hydrogen atoms and the enol form I have drawn for you. This is the enol form of this particular ketone given to me. Talking about the enol form of the second structure. Okay, so if I just go with this particular thing, I'll just say one thing. Over here, what I'm looking at, it's OH, it's O, this and double bond over here. Okay, so basically over here, this is the enol form of the second group. Talking about the enol form of the third group, it will look like this. It's OH over here, O and this. Now, which particular enol form is more stable? I'll say the second enol form is more stable. Why so? Because over here there are 6 pi electrons. There are 6 pi electrons involved in the delocalization process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 electrons, okay, one lone pair of oxygen is involved in the delocalization of the ring system basically. So over here we do have 6 pi electrons obeying Huckel's rule, 4n plus 2 pi. Okay, that means it is aromatic in nature. If it is aromatic in nature, okay, that means it's highly stable. And if this enol form is highly stable, that means the enol content for this particular enol form is maximum. So I'll mark second one is having the highest enol content because it's having higher stability, reason being of its aromatic nature. Talking about option number 1 and option number 3. Basically, what happens in option number 3, it is an ester. Ketoenol tautomerism for ester generally do not exhibit. Reason being because of the cross conjugation that is going to take place. Over here, the cross conjugation is going to take place. Just have a look. That over here, cross conjugation is going to take place between the lone pair of electrons present on the oxygen atom and the alpha hydrogen atom with the carbonyl group. So you can just have a look that over here cross conjugation is going to take place. Because of this cross conjugation which is actually taking place, the enol form become destabilized. The enol form is destabilized basically. Okay. So if I just compare the enol form of third and first basically, I'll say that the third one is less stable because of the cross conjugation. Okay. And hence its enol content is least. Talking about option number 1 over here, I've just compared option number 1 and option number third basically. So in comparing, I'll just mark that the first compound, which is cyclopentanone basically, it is having more enol content in comparison to the third compound. Okay, reason being, for the third it's ester. For the ester ketoenol tautomerism generally do not exhibit reason because of the cross conjugation which is actually happening. Hence it's the second, first and third. So the enol content, the correct enol content for the compounds given to me will be second, one and third basically. Okay, so I'll mark second, first and third. Option number C is the right answer to this question.